I have a 670-day streak on Duolingo and I still can't speak Spanish. This is what I hear from my new Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy students all the time. But what if there was a better plan that could help us learn more and learn faster? Well, I made that plan. It only takes 10 minutes per day and has 4 parts that when used together are extremely powerful, starting with grammar. Now, if you're like me, you probably don't like the word grammar. It's scary and ugly. But the reality is, grammar is the foundation of your Spanish. And without it, as you get to more advanced levels, your Spanish will fall apart. Skipping grammar is like building your house on sand instead of rock. It works at first, but then very quickly, it starts to all fall apart. This is why so many self-learners hit plateaus with their learning. They skip the grammar, learn a few phrases, see quick progress, but then they try having conversations in the real world and everything quickly falls apart. They freeze up, they don't know what people are saying to them, and they ultimately give up. All because they skipped just some basic grammar. But not you. With my 10-minute per day plan, you will learn a little grammar and review a little grammar each day. By the way, you can get this exact plan plus daily learning checklist when you join our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy. Our plan ties directly into our curriculum so you know exactly what to do without getting lost. You just need to follow our structured guide. And you can send me a private one-on-one message inside our community when you get stuck or need help. Click the link in the video description or go to SpanishInnate.com to join today. So, how do you learn grammar? And what grammar should you even be learning? You have 3 main options. Get a grammar textbook, join an online program like the Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy, or pay a teacher to teach you grammar. All of these resources can teach you how the language works, and I simply recommend that you choose the one that you like the most. But what grammar should you be learning? I recommend that you go in the order that your grammar resource has laid out for you. And if you already know a certain topic, just skip it and move to the next one. So for example, let's say you know prepositions really well, words like a, de, con, for example. So if that's in your grammar resource, just skip it and move on to something that's more your level. Maybe something like predicate versus imperfect or por versus para. So for our 10-minute plan, we're going to dedicate 5 minutes per day to grammar. A great place to start is with the informal future. I like to teach students this first because it's easy to learn, and once you learn it, you can now speak Spanish in the future tense. The next part of our plan, and arguably the most important, is speaking. The number one reason your Spanish isn't at the level you want it to be is because you are not speaking enough, period. And I understand that it can be scary to speak Spanish at first. I used to feel nervous during conversations, I would freeze up, I couldn't understand people, but fluency is behind real conversations. I'll say that again. Fluency is waiting for you behind real conversations. But how do you speak with people? And what if you have no one to speak with? First, download a free app like Tandem or HelloTalk. These are online language exchange apps which allow you to speak with native speakers for free. Now, they can be hit or miss because sometimes there are weird people on there. But I promise you, if you just message lots of different people, eventually you will find a couple really great people who want to help you with your Spanish. And you don't have to immediately start with speaking. If you still feel too nervous, you could start out with just casual text messages, then maybe audio messages, and then eventually phone calls or video calls. And if you don't like free platforms like Tandem or HelloTalk, then check out paid platforms, something like italki, Lengua, or Preply. All of these platforms let you pay native teachers so that you can have conversations in Spanish. The only real downside to them is that you have to pay for them. Also, inside our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy, a native teacher, Claudia, gives weekly conversation classes. So we have 5 minutes of grammar per day and 5 minutes of speaking per day. Now, I know I said that our plan has 4 parts, which technically it does, but the 2 most important parts are going to be grammar and speaking. So every day, if you were to just do grammar and speaking, you are already way better off than doing countless hours of Duolingo. Now, technically, we've hit our 10-minute limit, but let's move on to our 3rd part, which is going to be listening. The reason I didn't count listening in our plan is simply because it's something that we can do passively. For example, on your drive to work, you listen to a podcast in Spanish, or you're cooking at home and you listen to music in Spanish. I think that listening is one of the most fun and easy ways to improve your Spanish because you can do it while you're doing all the other things you have to do during your busy day. I have a playlist of more than 50 hours of music in Spanish, which you can check out by clicking the link in the video description. And the final part of our 10-minute plan is to use flashcards. I'd like to say it's tough to squeeze in all of the most important aspects of learning Spanish into a 10-minute per day plan, but you can tweak it depending on your personal life. So if you'd prefer, you could do, 10 minutes of grammar per day, 10 minutes of speaking per day, 10 minutes of listening per day, 10 minutes of flashcards per day. When it comes to flashcards, I love the software Anki. It's free on the computer and paid on mobile. It has a bit of a learning curve, but it works great. Anki uses what's called spaced repetition, which helps you learn new words and more easily remember words that you've already learned. I recommend that you schedule a specific time per day to study your flashcards. So, for example, right before you go to bed every night, you study your flashcards for 5 minutes. So we're going to do 5 minutes of grammar per day and 5 minutes of speaking per day. So if you really only have 10 minutes per day, then just focus on those two things, grammar and speaking. However, I think you have more time than that, and I think you can listen and do flashcards as well. So listen throughout your day, that could be 5 minutes up to 30 minutes, and then do flashcards, maybe when you wake up or before you go to bed. So in total, you could do 10 minutes of learning per day or 55 minutes per day. And if you want to spend more time learning Spanish, here's the exact plan that we recommend to our Fluent Spanish Speaker Academy students. Do 1 grammar lesson plus worksheet each day, which can take 5 to 15 minutes, speak Spanish for 5 to 30 minutes, listen to Spanish for 5 to 30 minutes, study and review 25 flashcards, which should take about 5 to 15 minutes. So in total, it'll be about 20 minutes to an hour and a half per day. I think you'll like this video. Click here to watch it now.